What is going on, everyone? How are you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. I don't know why I almost said like Wednesday. Today feels like a Wednesday, except I'm doing a live show. Hope you guys are all having a great week despite the not having a victory Tuesday, which is unfortunate. But you guys know we're going to be talking all about it. I'm excited to talk about it despite the outcome. I'm excited to talk Packers football and hang out with you guys. I look forward to Tuesday nights. It's a good time hanging out. We usually see a lot of familiar faces, and yeah, it's always a good time hanging out with you guys. Let's get that ticker going across the bottom so we can see our streaks that we got going on. Appreciate you guys being here week in and week out. I know sometimes people miss. I get it. There's life. You got life going on. Stuff happens. But either way, I mean, whether it's your first time here or if you're here from last year, I appreciate you guys immensely. Let's take a look at see who we have tonight. Checking in. I see Corey. I don't know if Logan's with you. If he is, sup Logan, sup Corey. Good to see you guys. Billy, good to see you, man. Appreciate you swinging in again. Heather, good to see you. We missed you last week. Tony, good to see you, my man. The Tullys are here. How is everyone doing tonight? I don't know about you, but I am doing well. Thank you. Ron, good to see you as always. Go Pack, go, Billy. I'm back to Facebook world and ready to watch Kirby cry tonight. Hey, that's, if we're all here for something, at least it's that, right? At least it's that. Keith says, good evening. Hey, Keith, good to see you. Kirby classic trap game. Kirby and I were going back and forth about that during the game. I don't believe in trap games. I just, I don't know. I don't know if you can. I don't know. Whatever. Dakota, it's a little too early for the trolling. We're a little too early into the show for the trolling. Love needs to be bench. Clifford season needs to start. Oh, Dakota, I love you, man. Christy, good to see you all the way in Canada. I'm not going to sing your national anthem again tonight. I got a letter from the Canadian government to cease and desist because I was doing such a disservice to the song. So I can't do that tonight. James, go. Maybe you're saying go Pack go. If so, go Pack go. Fellow Ben, good to see you all the way in California. Happy Tuesday, my friend. James, there you are. Go Pack. Okay, we got it though. Go Pack, James. Steve, good evening. Somehow to miss week one. Hey, that happens, Steve. It's all right. You're here. Ted, hey, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Alfonso coming in from Houston. Good to see you. Leanne, good to see you. Thanks for swinging in. Was anyone as surprised as I was about the Browns defense, or did I look past it? Well, Heather, you missed last week's episode, and I talked about the Browns defense. I don't know. It wasn't super surprising to me that they stifled out the Packers. They've been incredible this year. They held Derrick Henry to 23 yards. Like Derrick Henry, that's a freak of nature. Yeah, we'll talk about it, Ted. Ted says that's the worst performance I've seen by the Packers in years. Ted, I honestly think that we see a performance like that every single year, but we just forget about it. We're going to talk about it. Don't you worry. Ben says, I'm with you on not believing trap games. This is the NFL professional football any given Sunday. Yeah. No need to I get it, Heather. I'm not a big deal. I know you're in here all the time, so not like I said, I get life comes up and there's other things going on. So no worries at all. Work is far more important than watching my show. That's for sure. I just appreciate you anytime you're here. I appreciate you doing your work. I know you got a busy household at home. So either way, I appreciate you giving me some of your time. Well, let's talk about this game. So actually, before we do, let's drop this giveaway link. If you're new here, if it's your first time, there is a giveaway link that I just submitted. Fill out that form. Please only fill it out one time. I'm going to drop it out throughout the whole episode. I'm going to drop it multiple times. Only fill it out one time. Otherwise, I got to filter you out, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. It's a bit more annoying. technically, if I want to be extra difficult, I could say it's a rule violation for submitting multiple times and revoke your entry into the thing completely. Obviously, I try not to do that. I try to just filter stuff out. But only fill it out one time, please. Make my life easy. You don't have to be here the entire time to win. Just later on when I do the giveaway or when I announce the giveaway, you just got to be here to claim your prize. It's a little bit more of a, you like pick your number of what prize you want. So there is something you need to do. That's why I need you here. But let's talk about this game now that that's out there. And if you guys are having issues, I know in the past we've had a couple issues with the live form submissions or the giveaway form submissions. If you guys do have an issue with it, just let me know and I can manually add it. I know we've had a couple issues over the last couple weeks. So, but the Packers fell to the Browns 13-10. We talked about it last week. They had a very stellar defense. They were number one ranked, if I'm not mistaken, in rushing yards allowed. They were like number one ranked in total yards allowed, and I think number 3 overall ranked in passing yards allowed. They have a disruptive front. They obviously have Myles Garrett, very disruptive front. And I honestly feel like, offensively, they had a decent game plan given that they were without some offensive linemen. They just threw it short. Now their offense didn't do a whole lot, so maybe I shouldn't give much credit there. There's a lot of frustration in that game, right? There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of frustration in the game. First and foremost, offensive line. We went from week 1 feeling really good about our offensive line. That offensive line was picking up everything Detroit was sending their way, to it felt like the Packers had no answers for anything on Sunday. Jordan Morgan had a rough go. But what I will say, and I saw a lot of people just like piling on the guy, Jordan Morgan is a left tackle. And I know he played left tackle and he's played left guard, I believe, in college. I know he dabbled a little bit in right guard, but the Packers are putting him all over the line. And I think that's a very, very, very difficult thing for anyone to try to do in the NFL. It's not too often that you see players cycle through on a line. We've seen Elton Jenkins do it, but it's not often that you can see that. There is a reason why you don't see dominant left tackles go to right tackle ever. Obviously, most teams aren't going to put a great left tackle in a right tackle spot. But in the past, we've had very serviceable, really strong left tackles behind Bakhtiari, and they struggled to play right tackle, or we never even try to put them at right tackle. I think Yosh Nijman was one that we tried moving around the line, if my memory's not mistaking me. And it's not a thing that you can just interchange. It's not like on Madden. On Madden, you can kind of just swap and put guys wherever, and it doesn't matter as much. It's a tough thing to be flipping them around all over the place. So I feel like from a confidence perspective, that's not good. I also feel like from a technique perspective, that's tough. You see guys starting to get beat, and then they start jumping early, trying to get a head start on the defender, which is what we're seeing across the board. Speaking of which, Packers committed 14 penalties for 75 yards. It is the most amount of penalties they've committed in a game since week 3 of 2010, when they had, I think, 18 against the Chicago Bears. Now, it was week 3 this year. 2010 Packers won the Super Bowl, so I think we're confirming that. No, I'm not gonna draw those lines, but it's frustrating. You can't win many football games when you're committing that many penalties. Now, there were definitely some that the refs, I feel like, were calling a little bit. Maybe they're a little generous with them. There's a couple like defensive pass interferences that they called. That one on Keyshawn, which I think it was in the end zone. It really didn't look like one. They were just, but that's football. That's how it goes sometimes. Jordan Love, he was just getting just getting beaten up the entire game. And I don't know, it was a tough one all around for him. He obviously had the one interception, which was a back-breaking interception. And the second the guy throws one interception, the amount of people that just pile on the guy. That was he had 9 regular season games without throwing a single interception. That was his first interception this year. Obviously not the greatest decision, but anytime a quarterback's been pressured the entire game, you're going to see mistakes go up. I do I do find it interesting how, and obviously completely different quarterbacks, but Brett Favre was notorious for throwing backbreaking interceptions and throwing a tremendous amount of interceptions. And the amount of fans that just like adore him, and I'm not condoning adoring Brett Favre by any means, but the amount of fans that are just like adoring Brett Favre and like still think he's the greatest quarterback that the Packers have ever had. When you have Jordan Love, who's kind of cut from the same cloth, and they give him no grace at all, which is just, I think as Packers fans, we've become so accustomed to watching Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, who statistically speaking is one of, if not the most accurate passer in NFL history. And I think so many Packer fans had watched that for 15 years that they just expect that's quarterback play. That's how it always is going to be from here on out. And if it's not that, it's not enough. And I think that's a very tough way to watch a football game. We've seen Love. I feel like if you look back at 2023 compared to 2025, Love feels like he's grown a lot as a quarterback. Love, his deep balls are looking better. There's still work to be done, but his deep balls are looking better. I saw a comparison of whatever start this was for him compared to Aaron Rodgers' starts, games played at the same point, and their stats are nearly identical. I by no means am saying that Jordan Love is Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. But I think we also forget young Aaron Rodgers and how his game maybe looked. Young Aaron Rodgers, his deep ball was still pretty good, but he definitely wasn't Aaron Rodgers that we saw 2011, 2014, those MVP years. I don't know. It's just wild to me that like you can watch a guy play pretty well, like had some back-to-back pretty good games against pretty good opponents, and one mistake and everyone's like, oh, this guy's not it. He's not going to win a Super Bowl, and he's not going to be. It's like, can we just pump the brakes for 2 seconds without just flying off the handle every time the poor guy makes a mistake? It's just, I don't know. And maybe I'm extra annoyed because I run a social media page that deals with emotional people. When the Packers lose, I just see a ton of comments, and frankly, I don't read as much stuff anymore because I've learned over the years that it's not worth it. People are very emotional about sports, and I understand it. It's a thing you put a lot of time and energy into. But my gosh, guys, like and I'm not, I'm preaching to you guys, but I don't know that any of you are offenders of it by any means, but I don't know, just venting, I guess. But I don't know. That's where I'm at on it. But let's before I keep going here, I'm gonna let's see here. Going back to it. Any given Sunday. Yep, Monday, Thursday. I agree. Let's okay. That's I mean, I think to be honest, Kirby, I know people get sick of hearing that was on me. Anyone else tired of hearing that? Here's the thing. I think, in my opinion, I think why we hear LaFleur say this, because I've been a leader of people before, and I've had leaders that are great leaders before, and my previous leader, I would make plenty of mistakes in my job. I still make a lot of mistakes in my job. And my boss had never once thrown me under the bus. He never once in a public setting threw me under the bus. It was always like, oh, that was on me. I need to do this X, Y, and Z. And then in private would maybe talk about, hey, next time maybe let's do this. I think LaFleur just kind of takes the same approach. I think in private he's going to have those conversations he needs to have, but I don't think he's ever going to stand up there and say, I can't believe Jordan Morgan did that. I can't believe, Jordan did that, or Jordan Love did that. I can't believe, Brandon McManus did this. Or it just doesn't seem like it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything that's going to be productive for a locker room setting. Um, Steve says, my take, LaFleur game planned for when Garrett was in the game. I think that was a mistake and overlooked the rest of the Browns defense. I think he admitted that. I think he definitely undersold or underappreciated the Browns defense. So I think he even admitted that, especially that front four. Hi Nancy, good to see you. If I'm not mistaken, Nancy, I think you're the Packers' grandma. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I know who you are. Um, I think if I'm not mistaken, you're like the Packers' grandma that's always bringing cookies for all the players and such. I've actually met you a few times. If I'm not mistaken, I could be completely mistaken because I can't see profile pictures in here. Let's save Keith. I see your question there. I'm going to just save it for burning hot questions. Uh, this is going to be something I talk about here in a second, Chris. So good segue about Love holding on the ball and just not having enough time. Let's see here. All right, I'm just trying to make sure. All right, we'll jump back in. Just because a lot of comments are stuff I'm going to be talking about here in a second. So kind of where I'm going next. Special teams. Say what you want about Love, right? We saw the backbreaking interception that really set up the defense poorly. Put him on like the 4-yard line. Next play was the defensive pass interference in the end zone. Ran it in the following play. With all that being said, we still saw the team in a position to win. Brandon McManus goes out there for a kick. Kick gets blocked, unfortunately. They scoop it, kind of rumble a little bit with it, which ultimately sets up their game winning. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we still had an opportunity to come out of that game victorious. We would have been up 3 with like 20 seconds left. Their offense was struggling. I think at that point it's pretty much a dagger. Anything can happen, obviously. But the thing, and I think I saw John comment that, which is why I got back to it. But the thing that's like super frustrating to me is the fact that, and I know he's a leader amongst men, and people on the team really respect him. But Rich Bisaccia, he's got so much love and respect from the team, but he's the highest paid special teams coach in the NFL. And it feels like year in and year out, we're constantly dealing with the same struggles, the same issues, the same penalties on special teams. And I know you can only coach so much, right? Your coaching doesn't force others to execute. But man, it is. I don't know how you're always the highest, the highest paid special teams coach. And I understand he's also the assistant head coach. But man, that's frustrating. I sent a text to the boys on the Browns right before they kicked the game-winning field goal, and I said, "Don't worry, guys. He'll miss it, but we'll have a penalty that's going to give him an extra kick." Now, their kicker made it, but we still had a penalty that would have gave them an extra kick. And it's those things that are just, you can't do that. You just cannot give people extra opportunities to break you in that way. And it is incredibly frustrating that it's like clockwork on special teams, like on kickoffs or on whatever, that you're seeing holding, you're seeing jumping early, you're seeing different penalties. And I don't know at what point do you start having a conversation of what are we doing here? Because this isn't working. I don't know. That's like my biggest frustration there. We talked about Love holding on the ball too long. I also think that maybe there's a game plan error in there. I don't know what the game plan was, but we saw a lot of guys going deep and kind of trying to see these big chunk plays. And we saw some screens and we saw some whatever, but man, we saw them attack the perimeter with short 7-8 yard kind of out routes, and those seem to have some success. Now you can't do those too much. You'll pay for them as well, but it seemed like it was either a very much a screen little side pass, or we were trying to huck it 20 yards downfield. And I don't know, with that pass rush and the way they were able to get Love pressured with even a 4-man rush was just a recipe for disaster. So all in all, it was just a bad offensive performance across the board. I really thought that one to Golden was going to go the distance. I wonder if Matthew kind of got lost on where he was on the field catching that, because it felt like he had a little bit of room, and I know momentum's a thing, but felt like he had a room where he could have maybe tried to make a cut and go upfield with it. Yet I think we're just overanalyzing at this point, but as I'm looking at the loss as a whole, I think there's one person that we need to blame this on, and I think there's one person that's solely responsible for this, and that's Jeff Halfley. If I were a coach or an owner, excuse me, if I were an owner of one of the other 31 NFL teams, and I had a head coaching position come available, I'm gonna pass. I'm not even gonna consider Jeff Halfley for that spot, because the way he single-handedly lost that game for the Packers to the Browns, and I would not. His resume comes across my desk, I'd say you better stay in Green Bay for at least another 2 to 3 years to really learn your lesson from that. That's just that's just my take. I can't wait to post this clip and have everyone be like, "What? You don't even know what you're talking about." That's heavy sarcasm if you're new here. I think that was a running bit last week we did where we're just all making up different rumors about Jeff Halfley. All right, let's check some comments here. I do have some positives that we're going to be talking about. It's not going to be all negatives. Don't you worry. Let's see here. Billy, I see your question. I'm going to address that with the the burning hot questions. Ty, what's up, man? Good to see you back. I think that was a clip there's a clip of Myles Garrett mic'd up. He was yelling as he was chasing Jordan down. That might have been the left tackle. I saw one about him, the left tackle yelling at Jordan to run. Unless it was Myles. I don't know that Myles would have been yelling at him, but let's see here. Kirby says there is an entire generation of fans whose standard of play at quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, and it's crazy. I think that's a very tough standard to have. He is the like most accurate, best arm talent I think the NFL's ever seen. Mahomes probably is up there as well, or at least was up there. I don't watch enough Chiefs football to know, but that's a very rare thing. So I don't know. I think we all just need to kind of like maybe give a little bit of grace there. His screen passes are horrible, overthrew Jacobs twice in the same drive. I think part of that just comes from, when you see quarterbacks get hit a lot, get pressured a lot, they start hearing footsteps and you start rushing the process because you're trying to get it out. I think that's just what we're seeing. But yeah, it's tough. It just seems like Love's interceptions always come when he's backed up towards the goal line, and they're always a 3-yard pass, not a 20 yards. It's just how it is, That's I think maybe sometimes those are those are maybe the more you overthink the throw, maybe, or you maybe you don't overthink it enough. I don't know, but yeah. John says, please see Randy Wright QB era. I mean, there's a lot of quarterback examples that you could look at around the NFL if you really think that the Packers have it bad with Love. And I know Love has a high salary, and definitely not excusing that at all, but Love has some arm talent as well. And especially when he's in a clean pocket, we've seen some incredible passes from him. And I feel like he's only developing. I get people get frustrated, but he's your quarterback. Deal with it. Like, for me as a fan, Kirby could get suited up and go be our quarterback, and love you, Kirby, but you'd be an atrocious professional quarterback, I would assume. I don't know. I've never seen you throw a football, but and I would still cheer for you every single week you're out there. It doesn't matter. What's that Jerry Seinfeld bit? Like, I'm a fan of the laundry. I will cheer for whoever's in at any position, whether they're doing a good job or not. That's not my decision to make. I am a fan. I'm just supporting the team. I understand frustrations. There's definitely a lot of frustrations, and you question why things happen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't make any of the decisions. I don't decide roster moves. I don't decide contracts. I'm just a fan. I'm just here to support people. Raymundo, good to see you, man. Hope you are having a good day, and blessings to you and your family. Likewise, my friend. Go Pack Go from California. Nancy's the cookie lady, but have been called the cookie granny too. Okay. I always just knew you as like the Packers granny. But good to see you, Nancy. That, James, that was the funny part about it. Maybe it's not funny because we were the first of it, but the blocked field goals in the past weekend, we saw they showed the Packers, their field goal gets blocked, right? And the Browns didn't scoop and score with it, but then they showed the Eagles. They cut to the Eagles game after the Packers game. Final kick. Eagles are going to try to win this thing. Eagles block the kick, return it for a touchdown. Then they flip to the Buccaneers game. Buccaneers are kicking a field goal, trying to whatever. I think they're extending their lead at that point. Kick gets blocked, returns for a touchdown. It's like 3 in a row. I've never seen that before. That was wild. Jeb says a very good quarterback would have found a way to win. It's clearly Jordan Love is not that player. Jeb, we must have been watching the wrong game because last I checked, the team got in a position to win. Jordan Love wasn't kicking that field goal. Jordan Love wasn't blocking out there. So I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I missed the wrong game, but I don't know, Jeb. We must be watching the wrong. I must be watching the wrong thing. I'm behind on some comments here. I want to know, as others do, I know why didn't put Malik Willis with Nancy. You don't do that in the NFL really, especially where the game was at. It's not like the Packers weren't down by 30. Malik isn't the answer either. I know he has a different skill set, but I think, with where the Packers were, if you pull Jordan there, that's not a good look either. I mean, Jordan's your quarterback. You're sending mixed messages at that point. So, it says Halfley's going to send some hate mail. All right. I'm sorry. I'm really behind on comments. I'm getting a lot of comments. I appreciate you guys commenting. I'm just trying to keep up on everything. I'm going to say, Jenny, I see your question here. Oh, this is the first time I think I've had too many comments to kind of get through everything here. But all right, let's get back to kind of the plus side here. So the plus sides of the game, obviously, we have defense, right? Defense showed up. Really, they allowed a touchdown, but I think that was more on the offensive side of the operation. Talked about the getting put at the 4-yard line, then the DPI in the end zone. Wasn't a long pass by any means, but then allowed them to run it in. So that was their touchdown. But LVN's been looking good. Rashawn Gary got a sack. Micah Parsons, I know he probably didn't make the impact maybe he wanted to, but he's still making impact without showing up on the stat line. They didn't block Rashawn Gary on that one play simply because everyone was focused on Micah Parsons, which we saw the Browns kind of do the same thing, right? The Packers were focused on Myles Garrett, which allowed other guys to make their plays. So the other plus side here is it's an AFC loss. When it comes to tiebreakers and all that fun stuff, that's a pretty low side of things. I also think it's nice to get served some humble pie. We saw players talking about going undefeated. We saw all these other things, and I just think it's a little too early for that. And I think sometimes maybe you start watching the media too much and you start thinking to yourself, okay, hey, this is, we're that team and no one's going to beat us. And I think sometimes it's good to get brought back to earth a little bit, but I don't know. I see a lot of people, like panicking, right? This is the worst loss I've ever seen. Worst loss. This is, And I know it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget Packer games. It's easy to forget, especially as seasons go on. You remember fond memories more than bad memories. Do you guys remember in 2023 coming off a victory over the Chiefs and then destroying the Lions at Thanksgiving? We went in and lost to Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Do you remember the Super Bowl year when the Packers lost back-to-back games against two pretty pitiful opponents and losing to Miami and Washington, both in overtime, both back-to-back? Really bad performances those days. What about in 2009 when the 0-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Packers? Rodgers threw 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, as Packer fans, we see this happen, across the NFL. It happens across the NFL. We remember it more because we watch the Packers more. The Ravens lost to the Raiders last year. The Raiders went 4-12. Ravens were one play away from going to an AFC Championship game. I don't know. Welcome to the NFL. There's a saying that's any given Sunday for a reason, and everyone's a pro on this. Everyone's the best of the best, and matchups just happen. Things happen. Weird plays happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just at this point I'm just kind of like, okay, it is what it is. But no game is the games that people usually think are going to be a gimme are very rarely a gimme. So I don't know. All right, if you guys got questions, feel free to start dropping them. We're going to get into some burning hot questions here. I've seen a couple come over that I've starred, and we'll kind of go on there. But I don't know. We're on to the Cowboys. That's all I'm saying here. Sup, I'm not a bot. That's exactly what a bot would say. Love Jordan Love, but not mad at him. He's human. We all make mistakes. Yeah. Hey, I'm just glad millions of people don't watch me do my job, That's all I'm happy about. All right. Let's get these giveaway link here. If you have not entered the giveaway yet, submit your entry there. I'll be doing some burning hot questions here, and then we are going to do the giveaway probably following that. So if you got some questions, start dropping them. Let's get into this burning hot questions. Before we do, as always, I want to say thank you to my friends over at Legendaries for being proud sponsors of the show all season long. If you're in the Green Bay area, whether you're coming in for a game or if you just live in the area, go get yourself some Legendaries. I think they still got their peanut butter and jelly wings going, which is, it sounds like a very weird combination, but it was very delightful. It's like a Thai peanut sauce with just a hint of grape jelly, a little bit of heat. It really worked nicely. I was very surprised about that. And they're going to be doing special flavors, I think, kind of throughout the rest of the year, maybe into next year even. I'm excited to see what they come out with next. I'm going to be doing some giveaways for some of their award-winning sauces. They just went to Buffalo and took first place in the hot buffalo sauce. So look out for that next month. I'll be doing some giveaways there for that. But thanks to Legendaries, I appreciate them immensely. And go in there, check them out, get some wings, and they do some fun, different game day. Like I think they do $10 dozens when you dine in during Badgers games, and I believe the same when you go in for Packers games. So they have some great specials going on. All right, people are saying they don't see the link. I'll repost. Oh, Ron said he saw it now. Corey, did you get it there as well? Otherwise, I'll repost it. Heather said she had to leave and come back to see it. I'll try posting it again here. Sorry, guys. I know it can be difficult. If towards the end we don't get you guys in yet, I can manually add you as well. It's not a huge deal. All right. I see some questions floating in. I got some ones that I responded that I starred earlier too that will. All right. Let's get back to these. Keith said, is Golden going to be a number one wide receiver? I think it's tough to say right now. I mean, he looks like he's open a lot. He's making explosive plays. They really need to I think you're going to see that chemistry kind of grow over time, especially with Jaden's departure for a while. I think you'll see Golden maybe being utilized a little bit more in the offense. Hopefully, he can be utilized there, and I'm really waiting for them to hit and capitalize on that deep ball. We saw, was it week 2? We saw a just like maybe 2 inches outside his fingertips, and he had it. This last week, I thought he was going to take that one in the distance, and momentum kind of took him out of bounds. I think we're going to see a home run ball there coming up. So hopefully that's the case. Hopefully he's a dominant number 1. I would love to see it, but we'll see what happens. Billy says, just want to know who he was thrown to. Tucker Kraft was open on that play. I think that was pertaining to the interception. I think what it was one of those things that you get going. You need to make a play and you need to make it fast because it's a I think it's like a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. I don't remember exactly the scenario, but you see those things happen where you're like, I need to make a play now because the pass rush was so good. When given a clean pocket, Jordan's incredible, but we see his mistakes come much like every other quarterback when he's getting pressured a lot and when the footsteps are there. So Jenny says, good to see you, Jenny. Does anyone else have snacks during the show? What kind? I wish I had more snacks. I'm curious if people are rocking snacks. All right. This is an important one here. Steve says, what is your favorite pizza topping? Great question, Steve. I do. It depends. If it's just me having the pizza, like if I'm making homemade pizzas and it's just me having my pizza, I do buffalo chicken pizza with Legend Larry's, either Scary Larry, which is the one that won first place in Buffalo in the hot Buffalo contest, or I do DOA, which is the next level hotter, and that's their hottest sauce. I like Scary Larry's flavor a lot better, but I like DOA's heat better because it is a little bit hotter. So I would say buffalo chicken, though. I'm a big buffalo chicken guy. That is, if I'm getting pizza by myself, I order buffalo chicken about 98% of the time, maybe even 100% of the time. Depends where I'm getting pizza from, but Chris says, what is your take with Micah next week? Take as in, I don't know that I have a take with Micah. I don't know if you're asking me like his performance, what he's going to do. We're going to talk about Dallas here in a little bit. So maybe I'll just save it for that. When I'm going through these, I see questions and I just star them as I go. So some of these are probably out of context, but I hope Micah can get home. I hope he can make some big splashes. Whether he's making sacks or not, I don't really care because he does so much. We see him take on 2 to 3 guys, which opens it up for other people. And stat wise, you're not going to see it, but you're seeing LVN shine. You're seeing Rashawn Gary shine. And I think it's a huge addition regardless if he's the one getting home. Chad says, has anyone stood out to you so far through 3 games this season that you were not expecting? That I was not expecting standing out to me. I'm going to say it's not necessarily that I wouldn't expect it. I think more just like Matthew Golden and the explosive plays he makes. I don't watch college football. I don't have enough time or bandwidth to do that. But the way he's finding open field behind defenders and how fast he is has really stood out to me. I shouldn't be surprised by it because I know that's what they're drafting. He was a speedster. But man, it seems nice to see him kind of get out in the open field and the way he can find open field. I also thought Devontae Wyatt, he's had a really nice showing, especially without Kenny Clark there. Those are like kind of the 2 that came to mind initially for me. Keith, is it time to stop trying to end around? I don't know why, like Savion is a speedster with his end around. I feel like we should utilize him more. I know we do the wildcat thing with him a little bit. That's fun because I feel like he does that really well. And I think it's a way to let him kind of get in there and be utilized as a weapon. But yeah, I think sometimes we try to get too cute with it. That's for sure. I see some people still having issues with the link. Is everyone good now? Did we get that? Hi, Christy said it's 5:30. No time for snacks. She's driving home, probably heading home to have dinner. Heather says, "What's your take on how great Gary did this past week? Do you think it's due to Parsons being out there with him? I think he's a great part of our team since he got there. I think that's what Gary's going to bring to the table across the board is, or excuse me, Parsons is bringing to the board is he is eating up double, being double teamed, triple teamed, which Gary used to have to eat those up. Now it's freeing up Gary to be able to make more plays. Guys are forgetting to block people because they're focusing on Parsons. And I think that's just the thing of like having the whole team work together in that fierce front line. Christy says feta cheese and pepperoni with pineapple. That's a pepperoni and pineapple I can go with. I don't know that I've ever had feta cheese on a pizza before. Interesting. Jenny says, will there be a huge Packer fan attendance at Jerry World? I would be surprised if there wasn't. I would be surprised. It says the guy with the palate of a 10-year-old. I do have a pretty bad palate. You're not wrong there. Let's see here. Seeing if there's any more questions. Otherwise, we will we'll get to that giveaway. Did everyone get in on the giveaway? I rambled a lot about the game, so I'm a little bit behind. So if we don't have a ton of questions, that's not a huge deal. I know we're talking through and interacting throughout the show. Hands need to improve. I haven't seen him drop anything yet. Practice preseason or a few chances he's gotten so far. Did I say someone's hands need to improve or I see John's comment. Yeah, I don't think the one that one deep ball that he missed, I don't know that was on him by any means. I think Love just put it 2 inches too far. I don't know. Kirby, I will manually add you. I'll get you manually added. All right, let's get into this giveaway here. All right, let me get in here, get all these responses. Let's get Kirby added. Before I get going here, does anyone else need to be added that is not already added? Speak now or forever hold your peace, because I'm going to get Kirby added manually, and I want to make sure everyone's had a chance to get added. Don't want anyone missing out because the link's not working for them. That's for sure. All right, just going through. All right. Well, before we do the giveaway, I want to say shout out to my friends over at Nicolet Law. Because the Packers did lose all season long, anytime the Packers lose the following week, we will be doing double giveaways because even when bad things happen in your life, Nicolet Law has your back, even if it's something as trivial or as little as the Packers losing a football game. Let's do some salt, some smelling salts before we read this ad here. Get really amped up for it. All right, thanks Kirby on those. Here we go, amped up ad read. When it comes to injuries, you need a good game plan. That's where Nicolet Law has your back. Insurance companies have their own playbook, and it's usually not written in your favor. Nicolet Law helps level the playing field. They are based right here in the Midwest, and they've helped thousands of injured folks get back on their feet. They deal with the insurance companies for you, fight to get you what's fair, and they don't get paid unless you win. If you are injured, get Nicolet Law. Visit nicoletlaw.com or call 1-855-NICOLET. Boy, what an amped up ad read. I'm amped. All right. Why add Chris knows why add Kirby. He won't win anyway. All right. Let's do this giveaway here. Let me get all these names added, and then I will share the screen. Feeling good now, Kirby. All right. Giveaway. Let me know if you guys got that. Everything's looking good. Kirby the loser is on there, so don't you worry. All right. Good luck, everyone. Here we go. We're going to draw 2 winners. So let's see here. First one. Oh, is Tully going to steal it? Oh, let's go, Kirby. Let's go. Wow. What are the odds on that one? And I thought Tully was stealing that one for sure. Wow. All right, let's do one more. Dude, I've never been so hyped. All right, and we got Billy. 1 through 35, up or down, if we could, please. Everyone's saying rigged. Guys, if I knew how to rig a spinning wheel, let's be honest here. Come on now. Kirby's put in the dues. We got an acceptance speech here. Wow, this is... Unfortunately, I'm not getting a 1 through 35, so it might mean Kirby's forfeiting his prize here. Billy, if you're still in here as well, give me 1 through 35, up or down. But Kirby's got to make the first pick here after his thank you speech that's going to run on for 15 minutes. All right, 1 through 35. Let's open up some prizes. Boy, what a thing. Everyone's just saying rigged. I don't think, yeah, okay. All right. Billy, you got probably another, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Otherwise, we're gonna have to draw another one. Maybe not even that. Oh, there he is. 33 up. Boy, we got 33 and 34. All right, guys. And I'm going to get these out this week. I said I was going to get them out last week. I owe a lot of people prizes. I think the last 3 weeks I owe some winners some prizes. So I apologize, guys. I was going to get it out on Friday, and then I got my tail kicked at work, and then I didn't get to take a break. I just had work overflow. And then Saturday I was going to go, and I forgot that my wife had a work event, and so I was hanging out with my little man. So I'll get them out this week. I promise. Promise. 34. This is Kirby. Not that you guys can see it. Everyone's saying rigged. This is rigged for Kirby. Here we go. All right. Kirby, you got yourself a Donnie Anderson 8x10. Congratulations. You know, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I think, Kirby, if I'm not mistaken, you watched every single episode. Well, not every single one, but you watched a large amount last year. You didn't win once, and you've watched every single one this year. So it's good to be back on the board. All right. And then Billy, you got yourself a $10 Packers Pro Shop gift card. So congratulations, guys. Like I said, I will get these out this week. I promise. I have to get them out this week. I actually have a free weekend for the first time in forever. So I will get them out this week. All right. Not going to spend a ton of time because holy cow, are we running behind. But we're going to talk about the Packers Cowboys a little bit. One thing I always like to do is talk about, it is early yet in the season, but I like to talk about numbers of where the offenses are and the defenses are. So the game is Sunday night, 7:20 game, and in Dallas. As a person with a 2-year-old child, 7:20 games always kind of stink for me, but no, we'll work through it. But yeah, so as far as rankings, here's how things are ranked out. Packers offensively, they are ranked 21st in the NFL for total yards per game, 17th in the NFL for passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, 20th. Points per game, they are 18th in the NFL, averaging 21.3. Now, because it is so early in the season, these things, the averages get skewed so easily, right? So as we go on during the season, we're going to see these kind of cement out a little bit more, but that's where we're at right now. Now, the Cowboys offensively look really good average-wise, despite their game against the Bears where they did not look good. But offensively, they look pretty strong from a stat wise. Total yards per game offensively for the Cowboys, they're ranked 4th in the NFL. Passing yards per game, they're ranked 3rd in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, they're 11th in the NFL. And points per game, they are 10th in the NFL. Offensively, all of those are much better than the Packers. Now, the Packers have played Detroit. They've played Washington. They put up 27 points in both of those games. And then the game against Cleveland where the offense struggled mightily, which hurts the average big time. Here's where it kind of gets interesting. Defense. Packers are top 10 in everything. Total yards per game allowed, they are 3rd in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 7th in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 3rd in the NFL. And points allowed, they are 1st. So you have a good defense going against what appears to be a solid offense. Now, the Cowboys are going to be without CeeDee Lamb, which is huge. That's a big loss for their offense. Defensively for the Cowboys, though, they are struggling. Total yards per game allowed, they are 30th in the NFL. Passing yards per game allowed, they are 32nd in the NFL. Worst team in the NFL right now. Rushing yards per game allowed, 17th in the NFL. And points allowed per game, 27th. Once again, they had a really bad outing against the Bears, which is their stats are going to be skewed on that. But their defense looks like it's struggling. They don't have a pass rush right now, which is hindering them. My hope is that this is a game that maybe you can get back on the right foot. You can get Josh Jacobs involved a little bit more because they're 17th in the NFL for rushing yards, and hopefully you can open up some play action and hit them in the air since they are struggling there. 32nd ranked passing defense. As far as turnovers, the Cowboys have a -5 turnover differential. They've only taken the ball away 1 time, and they've given it away 6 times, 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Packers are a +1. They've had 2 takeaways and 1 giveaway. Through 3 games, the Packers have had 4 sacks, and the Cowboys have had 4 sacks, and the Packers have had 10. So, like I said, I just kind of go through. I like to always look, and as we go on, I'll probably make a graphic where I can put it up on the screen. It'll be a little bit easier, but it's so early yet that these averages are nice to know, but really it doesn't tell that much of a story because one game at this point can really flip your averages and really hurt it. But it is interesting that their defense is just struggling so much. James, get out of here. Steve says, will Dallas boo or cheers Parsons? They're going to boo for sure. They'll definitely boo him. Christy said, I can't believe someone asked Jerry if they're going to honor Parsons on Sunday. I think no stupid questions, but that was a stupid question. I was a little surprised. Now, they did honor Emmitt Smith when he came back as a Cardinal years and years and years ago. But Emmitt Smith at that point had also won a ton of championships with them. He was a main component of that, and his wheels were just falling off at that point. He was probably trying to get one last paycheck. So I don't know. I don't know. Alfonso says, which Packer gets more sacks on deck? I hope they all get at least 2 or 3. I just hope I hope the Packers speed up their offense. I would love to see a game like the Bears put up on the Cowboys and just generating turnovers and really having their way on offense with that team. That'd be fun to see. I need a nice stress-free Sunday night, What I don't want to have happen, and what's going to happen now that I say I don't want to have happen, is I don't want it to be a close game because then I'm going to be all amped up, and then it's going to take me forever to fall asleep already, and my son's going to be up super early, and it's going to be a long Monday for me. But we'll see. We will see. All right. As always, if you guys have been watching this for a little bit, as always, one thing I love doing every single week is giving you a different story of the week or a unique story of the week. And this week's no different. This is an interesting one that I don't know everyone knows, and I'm excited to share it. Did you know that the Packers were once kicked out of the league? That's right. They were once kicked out of the league. In 1921, the Green Bay Packers joined the APFA, the league that would soon become the NFL. They opened with 4 non-league wins, using mostly local players. But heading into their first league game against Minneapolis, the pressure was on. Green Bay needed to be competitive to keep scheduling home games and opponents that would draw a crowd. Just 2 days before kickoff, they signed 3 experienced pros. The move paid off, and the Packers beat Minneapolis. Over the next few weeks, they kept adding talent and even secured games against the Chicago Cardinals and the Chicago Staleys, which was today's Arizona Cardinals and Chicago Bears. By late season, their roster was so thin, and they had players from all over the Midwest, and they actually had to meet in Chicago just to practice. On December 4th, 1921, they faced Racine in a non-league state championship game. To stay competitive, the Packers used 3 Notre Dame players who still had college eligibility playing under fake names. The game ended in a 3-3 tie, but within a week, newspapers exposed the Ringer scandal, and Notre Dame players were suspended. Pro football was criticized, and at the January 1922 league meeting, the Packers were expelled from the league. Curly Lambeau refused to let the franchise fold, and 6 months later, the Packers were reinstated just as the APFA officially became the NFL. The Packers were back, and their place in football history was secured. Cliff Crystal, who is the Packers historian, had a really nice write-up kind of explaining it in more detail. That was obviously a very lengthy thing there, which a lot of it is sourced from his little write-up, but really interesting to think that the Packers were at one point expelled, and thankfully the Curly Lambeau begged and pleaded to get back into the league. So there you have it. How different would our lives be? You ever think about that? Like, how different would your life be if you weren't a fan of your sports team? So if the Packers didn't exist in 1922, if they got expelled, how different would our lives be? For me, it'd be drastically different. I moved to Green Bay because I love the Packers, and now I met my wife here. I have a son here. I have a career here, and I don't know where my life would be if not for the Green Bay Packers. So I don't know. Who knows? It's always interesting to think how much your sports team can really influence your life and the outcome of your life. But thankfully, I picked the right choice and picked the Packers. Rowdy says I'd probably end up being a Cowboys fan if the Packers weren't in the league. That's the God. Wouldn't that be a shame? All right, guys. I hope you all have a great week. Hopefully we can celebrate a big win over the Cowboys on Tuesday and head into the bye week, maybe getting a little bit healthier with a win. But as always, thanks, guys, for hanging out. I appreciate you immensely. Have a great week. And as always, go Pack, go. See you next week. Same time, same place. Talk to you later.